All right, we are live. Hello, everyone. Please
Hi.
let us know in the comments if you're here or if you're watching the replay. But this is the February Book of the Month discussion, which was Wings of Ebony by JL. Yay! I like, Heather, your little book aesthetic behind you.
Everybody needs a book stand like that.
So just as a disclaimer, we will be talking spoilers in this. So just as a heads up to everyone watching. But if you haven't read Wings or don't want any spoilers, then go read the book and then come back and watch this, because we have a very fun discussion planned. And I have a really big announcement that I'm going to reveal at the end of the discussion. But I am going to give a little mini announcement right away before I introduce my lovely co-host. But they already have one of these. And so what I did is I created bookmarks for the book club, which are super fun. So on one side it says just one more page, and then the other side says our motto that everyone voted on when the book club started, which was expanding our bookshelves and minds. So I am giving these away for free to whoever wants one. All you have to do is just message me, privately, and either on Instagram, or you can email me at WriteHollyDavis@gmail.com, and I will get your mailing address. I almost said email address. I will get your mailing address and I will mail you one of these. So each month that you read the book, you can have a special bookmark, which is super fun. And Kat's here. Hi, Kat.
Hey, Kat.
She actually just posted a review about Wings of Ebony, which I didn't get to watch yet, so I'm interested to hear her thoughts. But as you know, I am Holly, also known as WriteHollyDavis. I'm a YA and middle grade fantasy writer and the host of the book club, and I will let my lovely co-hosts introduce themselves. Alicia, do you want to go first?
Sure. So I'm writer Alicia Grumley on Instagram. That's where you can find me most. I write young adult fantasy. I write poetry. I write some nonfiction, self-advocacy for mental health and self-care. That's kind of my nonfiction writing. And I am one of Holly's lovely co-hosts, and I just enjoy being part of this club so much. And I'm excited to talk with this group about the book, because I did finish it this time. I didn't finish it last time. I finished it this morning, so cutting it close.
Woo! You made it though. Vanessa, you want to go?
Sure. I'm Vanessa Marie. You can find me on YouTube as Vanessa Marie, or Instagram as author Vanessa Marie. I write YA, fantasy, paranormal, and horror. And I'm excited to talk about this one.
Yay! And Vanessa has a shout out in my next YouTube video coming out on Tuesday, so be on the lookout for that. And Heather, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Venkat, known as Write Heather Venkat on Instagram and Write Venkat on Twitter. I write middle grade and YA, fantasy, and contemporary, aspiring traditionally published author.
Yay! And JJ is here too. Hi, JJ.
Hello.
Everyone that's here, please feel free to answer these questions and put your answers in the comments as well, because we want to know your thoughts on the book. But our first question that we always ask is, what are your general overall thoughts on the book? So I'm going to go first because I was the one who picked this selfishly as the book club pick for February, because I was a part of Rue's Crew, if you don't know, which was the street team for Wings of Ebony. So I really got to learn a lot about JL. I actually met her because she became my unofficial mentor through Author Mentor Match when I tried to submit last year. And so I already had seen her heart, and then reading Wings of Ebony, I saw all of her heart be poured into Rue. And So Wings of Ebony, I read the arc in December. I wanted to reread the book again so I could like see if I had a different perspective, but I didn't get a chance to because things were cray. But but it was one of my favorite books that I read in 2020, and it's still one of my favorites. And like, it's interesting because a lot of books, even if I do like them, I move on to the next one, you know, because I have my Goodreads goal and I'm just always trying to like, what book do I want to read next? Like, as I'm getting close to finishing a book, I'm like, okay, what's the next book I'm going to read? But like Wings of Ebony is a book that like I still think about, like maybe, you know, at least once a week. I still think about it. I still think about Rue and the characters. And of course I want to know what's going to happen because there's going to be a sequel. So it just shows how much it resonated with me because it really was a book about like, you know, that was uplifting for the Black community and just for girls everywhere, showing the empowerment that someone can have despite going through so much turmoil. And there were like, when I was trying to pick quotes for Wings of Ebony, like there were so many that like, they're just all from Rue, where she's, you know, saying, grow stronger in the pain, make a way out of no way. I prefer to die trying than not try at all, which was just like so powerful because she didn't, every time she said something like this, it didn't sound preachy. It was more like these teaching moments that were just like natural, but she was like, this book was just all about like combating racism and privilege. But like, we still have this story of, you know, that I don't know, I just fell in love with it. And I just feel like Rue was so relatable that, you know, even though she was half God and half human, I was able to like connect with both sides of that, you know, both sides of her. So those are my initial thoughts. And whoever wants to go next can go next.
I'll go next. Yeah, I had obviously heard about this book, you know, even before the book club. And sometimes when there's a lot of hype around a book, like I kind of get nervous, like, is it gonna be good? And I really do feel like Wings of Ebony like lived up to that hype. So I thought the storytelling, like JL's storytelling, was really strong throughout the book, and I felt like I was engaged throughout the whole book. Like sometimes there's books that kind of drag in the middle or whatever, but I was super into it. I loved it so much. Definitely a 5 out of 5. And I also felt like, you know, it can be sometimes hard for me to like relate to like a little bit more like a urban fantasy type books, but like she did it in a way that was so well done, like it didn't even seem like, you know, urban fantasy in that way. And like I actually went back and looked at her website, and I totally forgot that she had actually entered this book as a pitch for DV Pit in 2018, and there was like a ton of interest in it. Like
there was like hundreds of likes.
Yeah, like it blew up. I think like 22 publishers were after it, including the big 5. So I was like, you know, I was just so ecstatic that like it found like the home that it did, and it's the story that it is now. Because what's really interesting is that she even said, I mean, we know that books go through multiple revisions even after they're like someone gets an agent.
Mm-hmm.
But she said that like, you know, yeah, it's just like she said that she drafts very quickly, or she can revise really quickly. I think she drafted the novel in like 35 days, but then, you know, she had to keep revising too. And so that was like an inspiration to me as well as like a writer. So I was like inspired both as a writer and a reader about like Rue's persistence and JL's persistence and just all of that background like surrounding. I even downloaded, she has like a curriculum for schools to go through and use this book like throughout their classes, and I even like downloaded it and looked at it because I thought, oh, this is just so cool. So I just like fell in love with everything about it.
Heather, is that on her website? Where is that curriculum?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think she went through 19. I think this was the 19th draft.
That's
of-
so reassuring.
which is like really, you know, it's good and bad. 'Cause it's like, oh, there's so much work that goes into it, but it shows that persistence can make a book that good, you know.
Right.
Katie says, I'm so proud of JL. I still have like 30 pages to read and finish it tonight, putting my kiddo down for a nap, so I can't stay. But I love that this book was picked. Oh, thank you, Katie.
Good. Yes, and that'll be good, Katie, because then you won't have the spoilers, because those last 30 pages are intense.
Yeah, so I'll definitely come back and and watch so that you can hear about us gush about the craziness that happened.
Vanessa, you want to go or you want me to go?
Sure. So, okay, so one thing I absolutely love about this is one of those books that gives you so many different emotions and feels.
Mm-hmm.
I was crying, I was frustrated, I was happy, I was mad. There was just so much going on with this. There were some amazing lines where I was like, yes, girl. There were times, and then, okay, so I'm getting into one of the scenes a little bit, if that's okay. But the part with Rue and Bree, when they had their fight, I understood why it had to happen, and it turned out well. But at the same time, when that happened, I was like, no, but I love you guys. Your friendships are. I love their friendship so much, and I was like, don't make them not be friends.
Same, I know. I'm glad that they, you know, forgave each other in the end.
I'm glad that there was a little bit of a redemptive arc there.
Yeah.
I was like, we don't know, Katie. I hope you're like gone already. Not that we don't want you here, but knowing that you're that close to the end, we don't want to spoil it for you, even though we did give that warning. But there, I like that there was a little bit of a redemptive arc through that.
Yeah, especially because I really love their friendship. I don't think we see enough female friendships in YA. And so I really like their friendship, and Bree was one of my favorite characters. So I was like, no, don't.
James is giving a thumbs up. Hey, James. What about you, Alicia?
So I liked it. I thought that it was strong writing throughout, but I think the second half really picked up the pace and just the intensity. And I mean, there were definitely points where I was crying. I was like, no one warned me that I was going to be this upset during this book, and I'm not pleased. And I was like, Holly, JL, no one warned me. I didn't have a warning. So I mean, and I don't usually like cry during books, but there were like, all right, I mean, we gave the spoiler warning, right? Like,
right. Yeah,
like
the kids.
No, I don't want to do it for everybody. I don't want to spoil it for everybody.
I know
but
the part. No, you're
the
fine.
part. Yeah,
I'm going to talk about that part. I'm going to talk about that.
All right. Okay, you're going to talk about it. Okay, are we just going to dive into talking about it?
Dive into it.
Okay, so she called him dad like 2 pages for the first time before he dies, and I was losing my mind. I was like, no, like I haven't, like I was like, this is the first time she called him dad, and then it went from dad to daddy, and I was like, no, make this quit right here. And like I'm like bawling reading it and trying to take my notes, and I'm like, this is just like a hot mess express over here. But like, it was just like so good to like see her be able to complete that part of her arc of like trusting him at his word that what he had done was actually for her and for her benefit and to keep her safe, when all she wanted was him there, you know. And like I thought that like that moment of like actually calling him dad and daddy and like all of that before he passes are just so like illustrative of her arc in how she has to trust people, but how she has to trust herself. And I really liked getting to see her come to that like realization. But it was so hard to read. Oh, it was so hard. I was like sobbing. I'm like, no, after all this, no, come on. Like it felt very Les Mis for me. I don't know if you guys like are familiar with Les Mis, but the first time I ever saw it was the version that came out, like the video version of the musical a few years back with like Anne Hathaway and Hugh Jackman was in it and all these people. And like I felt like kind of the same thing because like the main character of Les Mis, like, I would spend the whole time, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm not over this. And then like he dies right about the time where I'm like rooting for this character. I'm like, no.
I know.
No.
I know.
Spoilers for Les Mis too, but I mean, yeah, it's such a popular show that's kind of like a pop culture reference. So I don't feel too bad about that one. But
yeah, I feel like it was so hard, but it like had to happen because then like a couple paragraphs down after like, he dies, she's like, I am Gazani, and then her magic comes back. And so it was like, it was very bittersweet because it was something that like had to happen. But that I remember that moment when I was reading it and I was like, no. Like Vanessa said, just drew out all the emotions. And it's like, it's not very often that I'm like crying while I'm like reading it. But I think, noticing that to her saying dad and daddy. But the part that really touched me was when he showed them all of the memories. The line was like, thousands of memories of the life he would have given me crash in a tidal wave of grief. And he's like, I wish they could be real. And she says, they are to me. And that's like, so, oh my God, I was trying not to cry. But that's just so, that really like hit me because if you guys don't know, like Heather and our dad died when we were 13. And so that was really, really hard. So like reading that, like, it just like, I felt all of that because that was right. That was our 8th grade. So we were like, he can't see us graduate, and then sometimes it's hard when I'm like at a wedding and there's a daddy-daughter dance because I think like, I can't do that. So like, if, thinking about like, if I, to be able to have that gift, it is so special. And so that was one of the reasons why I was just like, books don't do this very often, like draw this emotion out of me. And so like, I had to give it the 5 because even if just for that moment. So.
Yeah, like it was one of my favorite scenes, even though it was hard because it was so powerful. And then she like gets that strength, from him. And so I just, I agree with everything you guys are saying. But it was a tough scene for sure.
I think when she's like starting her crusade, right? Like when she's like, no, I'm protecting the people of East Row, yeah. East Row, right. Yeah, because Rue from East Row. So when she's like, I'm doing this, and she's like, and I want his head. And her dad says to her, you will have it. And I was like, oh, buddy. Like, it was just like so good because like, he's like, I'm not going to be able to stop her on this. I'm here to support her. And I want her to fight for the causes that she knows are right. And, like, I mean, my dad gives me that too. Like, get out of the way. Get out of the way. If you're in the crosshairs, you're there's nowhere you can run. There's nowhere you can run. And I liked seeing like her dad being like, yeah, I know. Go get it. Go get it, hon. Like, I got you. I got you until then. So, yeah. That was.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I think that made it so special too, was seeing so, you know, like the struggle she had with accepting him as her dad for so long, you know, not even calling him dad, and then just being spiteful because of him leaving the family, but then realizing like he, you know, and she's like, he could have found another way. He could have found another way, but like that was the only way. And he was doing it because of love. And it took her a while to realize that, like, oh, he had the necklace, you know, he gave her mom the necklace to make her invisible from the Gazans or Gazanians, whatever it's called. But also then that made her invisible to him. So he was like, I'm protecting you, but I also have to say goodbye to you. And so that was like, you know, like he was one of like my favorite characters too, because he showed his heart, even though Rue didn't understand it at first, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I felt the same emotions that she did at first. I was like really upset at him. It's like, how could you leave? And, you know, she's wanting to help out her sister. Which, by the way, I just wanted to say, I loved how she started the book, where you kind of are like thrown into action. Like she already was like pulled into that world, and she's been gone and she's been missing. And it's like, I really liked that aspect of things. But like you could tell, like her sister
Tasha. Uh-oh.
Oh no, did we lose you, Hev?
I know she said her connection's kind of spotty.
Oh.
Heather! At least we get to see her in this pose.
Such a nice, she looks like she's kind of like resting.
Well, we'll wait for Heather to come back. Poor Heather. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but like she was probably saying something about like how she liked getting to see like Rue already super committed to her relationship with Tasha, and like that was something I marked from early too. I was like, she did, like, it was page 4. She did such a good job setting the stakes early on, and
Yes.
that's like really, I mean, that's 19 drafts. That's a successful writer. That's, you know, all of those things coming into play. But I mean, by page 4, like, yeah, the stakes were definitely set for me. Like, she's not going to do, like, let anything get in the way of protecting her sister. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm here for this. Let's go.
Yeah. She was even willing to, you know, and then when obviously she had to save her in the crash, she was like, I know if I touch her, she's going to know everything, but I don't care. You know, she was willing to risk it because I had some lines. Let me see if I saved them at the beginning about her. Let me see. No, I don't think I have them here, but she was just kind of like, I don't care. I would have rather not have this magic at all. Like she would have rather been, you know, back home. Oh, Heather's back. Yay.
Hey, you're back.
Sorry, my phone overheated and so it shut off.
It's okay. We kind of figured what you were saying, and Alicia was saying that
I'm guessing that what you were getting at was that you were really impressed with the way that she set the stakes super early. I had made a note that by about page 4, I said, wow, like she has very clearly established these high stakes very early. And I thought that may be where you were going. But if there was anything else you say, please let us know.
Thank you.
Yeah. And she was willing to like break the rules to like save her and like even just get to see her, you know.
Right.
She didn't care. Any other favorite scenes that you girls had?
I mean, the whole ending was...
Yeah. Katie, get out if you're still here. This is the time.
I think she's... Vanessa, go. We're diving into all the hard stuff here.
Yeah, we gotta.
Well, first, before we get to the end, one of the scenes for me that was hard, that the one I actually cried about was I forget his name now. I'm looking for it. the what's his name?
Brian.
Yes, Brian. When he was killed, when they killed him, I couldn't believe it. I was like, can she do anything? Does she have the magic? Can she help? Like, and she couldn't. She really couldn't do anything but watch, and then just stay with them afterwards after they left. And I was like, so I don't know, boiling at that point. I was like, he did not want to be a part of this, and he got dragged in and killed. And I was so glad when she took down the, which so I did not see that part coming. This with the general, was it?
Mhm.
Right? General?
Yeah.
Not only is he behind this whole game thing, but when we find out he's not even Kazani, he's human, it's like, whoa, what?
Yeah. That was a mic drop moment.
It was, but then I was like, okay, so you should be able to take him down even easier, right? Like, let's get him out of here.
Well, I like that, like, the feds, feds got him, but then also I like how Rue, like, had him sit in front of everyone and, like, have that sign, "I am a racist," and he had to face everyone in the hood and, you know, come to terms with that. So
He had Brian's life matters, and all the people he
and
killed,
Demarcus, and just
all the people, yeah.
Down.
Yeah, that was emotional. But like, and throughout the book, she's saying like his name was Brian. Like, whenever she said it, it just like punched me in the gut.
Yes, I have a quote that relates to this. Give me a second. I've got to get to it. It's on 186. And
when I saw too.
Yeah. Brian, his name is Brian. Holding on to his name makes me feel like I'm holding on to him. And it just is like, yeah, that's because, you know, like all you get to leave behind is your name. You know, like that's all you get to leave behind. And I mean, to bring a little bit of Hamilton into it, right? Like, I mean, the whole entire point of that musical is the legacy that you leave behind. And I mean, Brian was a 17-year-old kid-ish, right? Somewhere in that range, 17, 18. And, you know, wasn't expecting to die for doing what he was taught was right, you know, which I think just talks about, it gets at so much of the world, like, because none of us ever know to, like, and for him to be able to say, like, I'm not going to sell these drugs. I don't want anything to do with this. This isn't my plan. Like, this is not, I wanted to make honest, good money, you know, like he wanted to help support his family. He wanted to have a job. He wanted to work. And, you know, those are all things that are important to all of us. And I don't know if everybody here that's watching knows, it may have come up in previous discussions, but I am a practicing Catholic. And one of the things that we talk about in my faith is like the dignity of being able to work. And like, it's like being able to work and doing good, honest work. There's something just like really holy about that. And so I think it made it all the more difficult to read that part and like just know like that was so much motivation for her because she didn't even know him, you know, she didn't even really know him. She's like, oh, I knew him because he was the football star, but she wasn't running around as friends with them or anything. And, you know, just like seeing that and like, yeah, his life did matter, you know, like it did. If it matters to you, it matters. Like if it matters to one, it matters, you know. It's like the starfish story. Like you're walking along on the beach and like there's all these starfish washed up and like with the tide and like you pick them up and you throw them back and you pick them up and throw them back and somebody's like, well, why are you doing that? It doesn't matter. You're never going to save them all. And it's like, it matters to that one. It matters to that one. It matters to that one. Like, it mattered. He mattered. So it was like, but yeah, like giving her that fire to start with it was like a perfect ignition point for her.
I think it was really powerful too, because like at first she was like, I don't have my magic, I can't do anything. And then by the end, she's like, my magic is from within, you know, he has this, she didn't need the onyx from the guy who stole it from her ancestors in the first place. You know, so, oh gosh, okay, going into like least favorite characters.
The general,
besides the general, also the chancellor. For stealing the magic, he was racist, and he, you know, like, and then he stole the magic, but then he was controlling the magic too. Like, so there was this caste system within the within Gazan too. So, you know, these people have to do this. You don't get your magic until you're 17. This and that. I think it was 17. So. Yeah, I was like, I hated him. And I forget, I don't think I saved this line that Rue had said, but she was saying how like the chancellor was like staring at her, or maybe it was the general, but it was like he was staring at her and she felt icky, and that she needed to like take like 10,000 showers to like
super hot showers. Yeah.
So it's just like, all you need is that line, and then you just like can tell how like icky of a person that is.
And that's so like a slight trigger warning, like potential here for like putting that umbrella over this. That is something that I have heard that victims of rape and sexual assault will say after the fact, like that they just feel like they can't ever get clean. And that there's like this, it becomes this like almost incontrollable impulse to just shower and scrub after being violated like that. So that was really what that made me think of. Like, okay, we're putting things in that same kind of category. And I can't believe that JL probably hasn't also heard that kind of language surrounding sexual assault victims. And so I thought it was a very poignant and quick characterization of him.
Any other thoughts on the chancellor?
Didn't like him one bit, but I didn't want to forget to talk about Miss Leola, because I loved her, and I felt like she kind of filled that gap of like that motherly kind of character that like Rue sort of needed. She's like always like having food ready, and just like, you know, there's kind of just joyous moments there. I was sad that Rue didn't like cats, but I was like, oh yeah, there's a cat in there, because I have 3 cats, so I'm like a crazy cat lady. But I liked those scenes. I liked her as a side character as well.
Yeah, I wanted to try her peach cobbler and the cornbread, and then Rue's like, oh, you don't say no when a grandma offers you food, and like
And I liked too how Rue, there's a point where she literally says, and I don't have the page number, but she says she's the closest thing to a grandma I've ever had, or a grandmother I've ever had. And then that echoes, so that's like somewhere near the beginning, like when she goes back to her house, and then that's echoed and mirrored at the end where they're under attack. And Miss Leota's like, get your hands off my granddaughter. And she's like beaming people over the head with cans and stuff. And I thought that was hilarious. I was like, this woman, like, I have this like image in my head. I'm guessing you all have seen The Princess and the Frog, the Disney movie.
Mm-hmm.
Madame Leota kind of in my head is like this, like, Madame Hootie, like, looking woman. Like just a little bit more feisty. She's got like this cane that she might or might not beat you with. Madame Hootie does, you know, but like nobody really knows. She's got a pet snake, but like just that like sass of like, get your hands off my granddaughter.
It's funny. it's funny, and she is feisty. But I was also really worried for her in that scene, because I was like, yeah, you're tough, but
you're old. Grandma.
Like, these guys have guns. You're not gonna beat that. So.
Yeah.
Except with a can, I guess.
I'm glad she was okay.
Yeah, me too.
I'm glad she was okay.
I forget. Did something happen to the other person that I didn't like? Was Luke?
Yes.
Right away, right after he was like, I hope Tasha is okay, Rue. And she's like, oh, when did I tell him my sister's name? I was like, oh crap, he's gonna betray them. Like, I just knew. It was like that one line. I was like, oh, the foreshadowing is there. Like, it's like foreshadowing. It's like boom, and I was just like, great. He's gonna like destroy Bree's love. He's gonna betray Rue and mess everything up. But I forget what happened to him.
They beat him up. They tied him and beat him up, and I love that.
Wonderful.
And Bree like comes in as Rue's like literally kicking his butt. Like, she's got him down on the ground and she is beating him up as she well should. And Bree comes in and goes, "Hey, can I join?" And when she was like, that's where Bree like kind of makes her apology and like tells her all the things that she's done to like work through it. Like their fight, right? And then like Rue has to go because like the battle isn't over at that point. Like, this is in the midst of the battle, and she's like kicking him with her feet. She's like, "You!" Like, I don't know what, I can't remember what kind of name she's calling him, but like nothing like swear wordy. But she's like, "And you like use my love," and she's like kicking him. I'm like, and they like do their handshake before Rue leaves, and then Bree's like back, and she's like, "I left Bree to it." And she was off, like, but they beat him up.
Yeah, I honestly didn't trust Luke from the beginning. I don't know why, but right from the moment he was introduced, I'm like, something about him. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't trust him yet. And then when he that little foreshadowing part when he said that, I was like, yep, no.
Well, I think like sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think like Vanessa, because you like connected with Bree so much, like maybe that's why like you kind of knew, like you had this protective instinct over her. You know, and so that's what I'm wondering, like what's gonna happen to Bree now that she gave up her magic. And that was a hard thing for her because she's like the STEM queen with her tech savviness, and which was like super cool to see. But it's like, what is, I want to see what she does with it now, like without her magic, and how she grows into her role without it. And she was willing to do that for Rue. So that just showed like she was willing to do that for their friendship.
I feel like she'll become a really strong character even without it. I think so. I hope so. I loved her character from the beginning, and I would say she's awesome even without magic. So
yeah. So, but I do think that JL did a good job of keeping us like kind of wondering about Luke and about his character, because like I kept like, because I also didn't trust him, but I kept thinking like, but he helped her. He like tried to like get that tracker kind of thing out. And so I was like, what's going on here? So like, I think she gave us just enough to make him like, to make us doubt him one way or the other, like, it's like, and question ourselves. Yeah.
That's true. I wasn't sure if she was like tricking us, like wanting us to be suspicious of him. And then he really, was just all good and everything like that. So, but then the opposite happened. So yeah, it was like, I could have gone either way. Like I was being cautious, but I didn't have strong feelings until obviously like, then you're just like, oh, okay, that's the kind of person you are.
But they literally beat him up, so I'm kind of okay with it.
Satisfying.
It was really satisfying to read. Like, she's got him like, and I mean, she's not like cat fighting. She is punching him in the face in that scene. And then Brie comes in and she starts kicking him. I'm like, like this is what you get for being on the wrong side of history, you know, like somebody's gonna beat you up.
So this is a good segue into the next topic that I want to discuss, because these two people were also people that went in to try to help the fight, was both Julian and Jamal. I have to find out what team you all are and why.
I don't know. I can't pick.
I'll go first because I know, I guess.
I'm not picking, so yeah, go ahead.
I was definitely Team Julian from the start, because like even though he was like, you know, her like ex, you know, childhood lover, like, you know, there wasn't like this huge falling out that it was like, oh, he cheated on her or something. It was just like, no, he started to kind of clean up, and then JL putting thoughts like that hoe over there in this book. I'm like, yes, this is everything. But she's like, then all the thoughts came over and she was kind of jealous and she couldn't like take it, and so she just like left him. But like he was still always there for her throughout the scenes, and even at the end he's like, I want to go with you, and she's like, you know, I want to wait until, she's like, let me go, you know, let me go to New Gazan by myself, and like I'll let you help like later. So like he's still there for her no matter what. Whereas Jamal, I'm like, who's this guy? Okay, he's cute, but then he's calling her his queen, and I'm like, he don't know her yet. Like he doesn't know the real Rue. And so at least that was my thing. Like I felt like if there was one critique I would give, was that I didn't feel that connection between Jamal. I felt like it happened too fast. So that's why it was so easy for me to go to Julian and be rooting for their relationship, because like I felt like there were scenes omitted. Like there should have been more with them together to kind of build a little bit of a connection. And there were some, but I felt like it was too fast because he was introduced so late into the book. So Kat really quick says, neither, because I detest love triangles. The quicker she chooses, the better. Yes, there's love or hate love triangles. So,
but to Kat's, sorry, Heather, I was going to say to Kat's point, I think that it was not the focus of the story by any means. You know, like it was like not even an option until 80% through, which I was like, oh, good. And then even then, like her focus is not choosing between these two boys. Her focus is, I'm fixing this shit. I'm getting our magic back, and I'm not hiding no more. And like, and so I like that. Like, there's room to maybe explore some of that throughout the next book. But I really like that it really wasn't a focus, because sometimes those love triangles can become like the entire focus. And I feel like that would have just taken away some of the empowerment, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I felt like Julian was maybe like he was more of like the wild card, and Jamal was like that sure, safe, secure thing. Like I saw him as like, and I thought, you know, that might have been why Rue was really drawn to him. Like, not just that he was good looking and nice and everything like that, but it's like there was a lot of like safety and security, like that you could tell if you were with him. It's like you wouldn't have to worry about, you know, anything. Obviously, Rue takes things into her own hands. She doesn't need to be taken care of, but I like appreciated that side of him. I was not really on one team more than the other. Like, I felt like, hey, as long as they are like supporting her, like I didn't have anything against either of them, let's just say.
Right.
But like I didn't feel strongly either way. And I wanted to be like team this, team that. But like I guess I'm team both of them, like, and I'll let Rue choose. So
yeah, I'm team Rue. I'm team Rue.
Team Rue.
Yep.
Yeah,
I don't care.
And Kat says, oh no, she's busy with more important things. So I have hope that it won't take up much space in the next book. Yeah,
Right.
True. Any opinions, Vanessa, or your Team Rue?
Yeah, I'm Team Rue. I don't really. I mean, maybe in the next book, if there's more scenes with either of them, I'll feel differently. But right now, I don't care either way.
Yeah. Like they both seem like solid options at this point until proven differently, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
Can I make a comment that's a little bit tangential, but definitely still book related? So all of the ways that JL describes dark colored stones, right? She uses onyx, she uses obsidian. We don't see the word ebony until like page like 300. And then to see that word in so close, like because I think it's the name of the daughter, one of the daughters, and Ebony, her life mattered. So I feel like that is going to be such an interesting part of the next story. Let's see. Oh, okay. So page 300, it's talking about Jamar, or what is it? Jamal, right? Yeah. And then, but like when she's got the general sitting there, like with the sign that says, I am a racist. And the names of the people that she forces him to say. Yeah, Brian, DeMarcus, another mother speaks up. The one looped in Aunt Bertha's arm, and this is on 347 at the very bottom, flip to 348. And my daughter's name was Ebony. She was so bright, only 14, and she mattered. And I cannot wait to see what that looks like, because there's something there, because we've got Ebony in the title, right? So I always like seeing, or like being able to kind of figure out those, like, why is the title kind of moments, or like when the title gets mentioned in the story, like if that is the thing. So I think that those are going to be kind of my antennae are up about that, because I'm very interested to see where that goes.
Interesting. I didn't catch that. Cool.
I did want to know more when that part came up. I was like, oh, what's Ebony's story? I wanted to know Ebony's story, because she was like, she was 14, she was so bright, she mattered. Like, what happened to her?
Yeah. And I wonder if that's something we maybe get to learn about in book 2, or if that's just something that like JL has like in her world building, which, I think always makes a really good story. Now that we're all writers, like I can say this as a reader, I love knowing that the author has this deep, complex world and we're getting a sliver of it. So maybe we don't ever get to see it, but I would be really, I'm tuned into it, let's say, because she was very, very intentional about not using ebony as a synonym for a black gemstone or the wood or anything until about page 300. And like, I don't feel like it was an accident. So
yeah. Even if we can get like, even if she doesn't put it in the next book, but like, I would love to even have a novella or short story.
Right.
What happens to her.
Give us a newsletter goodie,
Yeah. I know she mentioned this one deleted scene with like a barber shop that she had really liked, and so like maybe she'll do that, like release like some deleted scenes, because that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So any specific quotes that you guys liked to finish?
I didn't realize this, so I don't remember where it's at, but the thing she always says to her sister about, Mama raised the diamond.
And diamonds don't crack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved all those lines that she kind of got from her mom. Mom's taught me to grind, to find a way when there is none. I haven't forgotten who I am, who mom's raised me to be. So I like that, like, her words kept popping in Rue's mind.
Mm-hmm. So I have one, and it's on 172, and it's from Mrs. Totsi. But she snaps out of it. It's kind of about midway on the page, but she snaps out of it. And yes, dear, I can help you get to Breeze undetected, but you must promise me something. Yeah? If you ever find yourself, or if you ever find you've nowhere else to go, you come here to these books and you find yourself. And I just got like the goosebumps from that, because like, that's why I read. I read to find pieces of myself in books, you know, that I don't even know are out into the world. And it was just such a beautiful, she does this like juxtaposition really well throughout the book. Like if she has like a theme, she echoes it really well throughout the story, I feel like, because earlier on page like 80, it says that there were no libraries or bookstores anywhere in the hood, and that Tasha had to take a bus to get there. Like, and I just thought that that was like so important. I mean, obviously, JL, she's probably a big reader, right? You don't usually become a good author without also being a good reader. Usually, I don't know, but I'm guessing. And I think just like those two things placed in there just give like just this such like important part of like, because books matter, you know, like they matter to us. Representation in books matters. Like the whole reason why we're doing this is because books matter. So like this being diversity is lit, or you know, like the whole reason Holly started this is to be able to elevate authors of color and BIPOC authors, you know. And I just think that those 2 points, like the specifically like come here and find yourself in these books, and then like pairing it with this fact that there were no books in the hood, and they still like there's value there, and it's subtle but so well done. That was probably my favorite.
I love that. And then knowing that like JL, like for every pre-order, she, you know, was donating one book to her, you know, school for the inner city kids. It was like, that's where those parallels are between like, you know, Wings of Ebony and JL, and she's like practicing what she's preaching, which is like, it's like beautiful.
Love it.
I'm breaking the heart here with the line that I just like thought was hilarious, because it showed Rue's voice, and that's what like captivated me, because she just felt so real. I think my pages, I had highlighted pages from the arc, so the pages are a little bit off, but on mine it's 109. But she's like, sorry, there will be a lot of swear words. She says, "Ride or die is a code, means friends, the real ones, not the fake ass flaky ones, are always there for the good and the bad, even when shit gets real. And right now, shit's real AF."
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's like, you can't just read any other book, and like you can read that and be like, oh yeah, Rue's talking right now. Like, so I just love it so much. There's AF, MF, like she just has all this
the thoughts.
Yes. But then there's like the opposite side of things, where she's so relatable here, and then she goes to her like hits you in the feels with, but not. This was around page 139, but not knowing how to fix something isn't an excuse not to try. Can't they see if we don't do something, who will? So I'm just like, oh, I just love it so much.
That's great.
Yeah.
I really, really liked the afterthoughts, which I was wondering how, like all of them, like the whole, I think it's like a little over a page. And I was wondering, like, I hadn't seen anything like that in a book before. So I was wondering, like, is this supposed to be Rue? Like, I'm assuming this is Rue.
I thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I want to know, like, what Rue is saying this, like, I don't know, because we finished the book and then there's these
which Rue? Like, when is this? Is this right after? Is it?
Yeah, but I love it because it's just like, I'm not broken, don't pity me, I say watch and you'll see. And then right before that, on page 352, I just loved, she's like, for so long I felt like I lived in two worlds, but that's because I was forced to choose one over the other. I'm not choosing anymore. I'm both Rue from East Row and a Gazani queen. And it's just like, yeah, it's just so empowering. Even though these are like at the very, very end, they like stuck with me as like kind of my fave quotes.
Mm-hmm. But then also that line right afterwards, I slip my hoodie off and toss it. Sunlight glints off the golden metal pattern written into my arms. I don't care who sees. This block is family, and they're going to know all this power stands with them. And like the hoodie, it's like, it's here, it's on the cover, and she's just like shedding new skin.
I think there's something really symbolic about that, going back to a tragedy several years back with Trayvon Martin. I think there's something really beautifully, deeply symbolic about taking the hoodie and taking the hoodie off and owning the power and letting everybody see her.
Yeah. So this was such a good book, and I'm so glad that we got to discuss it and talk about all the important parts and gush about it. So hopefully we'll be able to read the sequel. I know Kat had recommended Blood Like Magic for June or July, whenever that comes out, for a future book pick. So keep on giving us suggestions and things like that, because that really helps us be able to like cater what you guys would like to read as well. We've got some like thrillers in tow for picks for the next future month. Oh, but Alicia showed me the book for next month is The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna, which I started reading yesterday. Oh, I got my bookmark in here. But I only read the first 17 pages, and I was like, I am really gonna like this. So
I can't. This is actually one I voted for. I'm sorry that I didn't vote for Amina. Is that the one? But like, this looks like it's gonna be like right in my range. I love this kind of like Afrofuturism kind of genre, and I think this might hit that a little bit. So I'm excited.
Vanessa was already like halfway through reading that book, so I'm through Amani.
Actually, I waited, but now I'm gonna read it. So.
Oh, okay, you're waiting. Okay, yeah. We'll have like part 2 of our like we'll have like a second book. Oh, I think you have Dread Nation. Okay, cool. And that was fantastic. Awesome. So that means it is time for my big announcements before we go. So I will make a YouTube video announcement for it. I might just make it like a live stream, because that'll make it easier on me than having to edit a video for it. But it's kind of connected to the fact that I have these bookmarks to give out. But I'm going to take my headphones off and reveal something. Don't worry, I am not flashing you.
You're good.
Woo!
There it is. Boom, baby. Boom, baby.
Nice.
They look so good.
Boom, boom, boom. I was hiding it this whole time. So I made Diversity is Lit Book Club merch. So, oops, I dropped my book. We have shirts.
And
we have hoodies.
Ooh.
And, oh wait, where did I put my stickers? We have stickers, which I don't have with me. Oh,
Holly, can you
here we go.
Stickers real quick? Can you please tell them, please?
Quick note about the stickers. So you can put it on your laptop. You can put it on a journal. So when I first was designing these, I just put the logo on it, and then I like ordered a copy of it so I could see what it looked like, and it was literally this big. It was the size of my face. Because I didn't know I could change the size, and I thought that they would all just come like normal sticker size. So it's huge.
It was like literally, we're like, oh my.
So we printed it out, and now it's a lot more manageable. Super fun. So I'm going to make an official announcement about it, but I thought it would be fun to reveal it at the end of this video. And oh, hey, the link to the Teespring store has been in the description box this whole time. I made this Teespring store because I wanted to like have a way to like promote the book club and like show our pride for the book club. So I thought it would be really fun. But then also a portion of the proceeds are going to go towards supporting BLM charities. And so I have researched some charities, and so I'll be posting a poll in our Goodreads group for people to vote on, and I might like rotate it every, maybe every quarter or something like that, so that we can like donate to different charities. But I wanted to find a way that we can give back to the BLM community. So that is a way for us that, after everything happened with George Floyd in June and I created this book club, yes, we're supporting, Black authors and BIPOC authors, but this is a way to actually make some sort of lasting change with, racism and privilege and all of that. So that's why I did it. And it's fun. It's super fun. So, so the link is down below. If you guys are interested, again, if you would like a bookmark, just send me a message and I will mail you one for free. And I think that's it. Anything else I missed? Okay.
Nope. Thanks, everyone.
So the Gilded Ones for next month
Yes.
by Namina Forna.
Thank you to my lovely co-hosts, and have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you online.